Hello everyone, welcome to Shivam's Biology. In this video, I'm going to talk about all those topics that are important for the board exam as well as the NEET exam. So if you are currently studying in class 12th and going to appear in the board examination, this video is very important for you. And also, if you are not currently studying in class 12th but going to appear in the NEET exam, this video is also meant for you, because in this video I will be talking about all those topics that are most important from the chapters of class 12th textbook. So stay tuned. In the first chapter, that is the reproduction in organisms, the most important topics are asexual reproduction and its various types like binary fission and various others, asexual structures like zoospores, conidia, birds, gametes, etc. that are given in figure 1.3 in your NCERT textbook, vegetative propagules like eyes, rhizome, bulbil, etc. After that, the benefits of sexual reproduction is a very important topic for your board exam. Phases of life like juvenile phase, vegetative phase, senescent phase. Various type of plants like annual plants, biennial plants, perennial plants. And here in the perennial plant, an example given in your NCERT textbook, that is Strobilanthes kunchiana, is very important. It is the Neelakuranji flower. Pre-fertilization events like gametogenesis, gamete transfer. Various terms like homogametes, heterogametes, monoecious and dioecious plants, meiocytes, these terms are important. After that, the concept of parthenogenesis is important and its examples also. Embryogenesis, and on its basis various animals like oviparous and viviparous animals. These are the most important topics of first chapter. Let's proceed to the next chapter, that is second. In the second chapter, that is sexual reproduction in flowering plants, the most important topics are flower structure. Here you should always remember that in your NCERT textbook a lot of diagrams are given, and all those diagrams are important for your board as well as NEET exam. So whenever you encounter any diagram, study it carefully. Here, flower structure, after that the process of microsporogenesis and megasporogenesis, pollination, its various types, agents and examples, outbreeding devices, pollen-pistil interaction. The process of double fertilization is of utmost importance. It is very important topic. Post-fertilization events, those changes that occur after fertilization, embryo development and its types, nuclear, cellular, halobule. After that, the structure of monocot and dicot embryo, very basic introduction, you should know about that. True and false fruits. The concept of parthenocarpy is important. Some special cases like apomixis and polyembryony. These are the important topics of chapter 2. Let's proceed to the chapter number 3, that is human reproduction. In this chapter, firstly, the male and female reproductive systems are important. You may receive direct questions from the diagram, and if you understand the anatomy well, then in the next sections you can easily perform better. The internal structure of testis and ovary is very important. After that, the process of gametogenesis, that is spermatogenesis and oogenesis, is very important, and the structure of sperm is also important. The process of menstrual cycle is important and you should understand it very well. Comparison between menstrual and estrous cycle, fertilization, embryo development, and various terms related with it like blastomeres, morula, blastocyst, implantation, etc. Pregnancy, placenta formation is important. You may receive question from placenta formation. Hormones like HCG, HPL, etc. Parturition and the fetal ejection reflex is very important. You should understand it very well. And the roles of oxytocin and relaxin hormones is very important. Lactation and colostrum. Here colostrum is very important topic, and its importance, why it is important for the newborn baby. Let's proceed to the next chapter, that is reproductive health. If you prepare these topics well, then you can surely perform better. Here in this chapter, various birth control methods, their need, types like natural, barrier, intrauterine devices, oral contraceptives, implants, emergency contraceptives, and the surgical types like vasectomy and tubectomy are very important. Next, the medical termination of pregnancy, that is MTP, is very important, and amniocentesis is important. STDs, that are sexually transmitted diseases, their common symptoms and prevention, these are important. Assisted reproductive technologies, ART, that include various types of technologies like IVF, ZIFT versus IUT, GIFT, ICSI, and artificial insemination. These are important topics of this chapter. Let's proceed further. In the next chapter, that is principles of inheritance and variation, the most important topics are the experiments of Mendel on pea plant, why did he selected pea plant, these are important topics for your board exam. Monohybrid and dihybrid crosses, you should understand them very well, because whole Mendelian genetics is based upon these crosses, and the laws derived from these crosses like laws of dominance, segregation, independent assortment, these are important. After that, deviation from Mendelism, that is those cases where Mendelism is not followed completely, that is incomplete dominance, and its examples are very important. Co-dominance, multiple allelism, and various other topics like pleiotropy, polygenic inheritance, etc. Test cross is very important for the board exam. Back cross also for NEET exam 2. Complementary genes, rediscovery of Mendel's laws, why it remained unrecognized. These are very important topic for the board exam. After that, chromosomal theory of inheritance, that was given by Sutton and Bovary, is important, and its experimental verification by Morgan, who worked on Drosophila melanogaster. After that, linkage and recombination is very important for both board and NEET exam. Genetic maps, genetic mapping and its concept, that was given by student of Morgan. You must have studied it in your textbook. That's important. Sex determination and its types, various types like XO type, XY type, ZW type, ZO type, these are important. Sex determination in honeybee, it is also important. Mutation and its various types like point mutations and frameshift mutations. Pedigree analysis, its symbols and uses. Mendelian disorders, various types of Mendelian disorders like hemophilia, color blindness, and other autosomal disorders like sickle cell anemia, thalassemia, phenylketonuria are important. Chromosomal disorders like Down syndrome, Turner syndrome, Klinefelter syndrome. So these are the important topics from this chapter. Let's proceed to the next chapter, that is the molecular basis of inheritance. This is a very important and very interesting chapter. In this chapter, the first most important topic is the structure of polynucleotide chain that will form the foundation of this chapter. Structure of DNA and RNA in comparison, what's the difference between deoxyribonucleic acid and ribonucleic acid. After that, the double helix model of DNA given by Watson and Crick, the nucleosome and euchromatin and heterochromatin. These are important terms sometimes asked in the board exam. After that, During the search of genetic material, various experiments were conducted, and in these experiments, Griffith's experiment of transformation principle is very important. Biochemical nature of transformation principle. This experiment was carried out by Avery, McLeod and McCarthy. It is important. Hershey's experiment, central dogma of molecular biology, that is replication, transcription in prokaryotes, eukaryotes. It also includes the process of translation too. Before translation, you should study genetic code and its features. After that, translation. These three topics, that are replication, transcription and translation, must be studied in ample detail. These are very conceptual topics and you should understand them very well. Regulation of gene expression and the concept of operons. For board examination, only lac operon is sufficient, but for NEET, tryptophan operon is also important. After that, Human Genome Project, its methodologies and its features and applications are important. And DNA fingerprinting is very important for both the exams, that is board exam and NEET exam. Now, let's proceed to the next chapter, that is evolution. In this chapter, there is nothing much conceptual, but few things are important, like theories of origin of life. Miller and Urey experiment is quite important. Evidences of evolution is an important topic. Various types of evidences, and like inside the biogeographical evidence, you will study adaptive radiation and parallel evolution, convergent evolution. All these are important, and their examples too are very important. Lamarckism is important. Darwinism should be studied in ample detail. It is important. Natural selection, its types, like industrial melanism, very important. Its industrial melanism is very important. Chemical resistance, etc. Mutation theory, that was given by Hugo de Vries, and the concept of saltation that is included in this theory is very important. After that, Hardy-Weinberg principle is important, and the factors that affect Hardy-Weinberg equilibrium are also important. Human evolution is very important topic for all the examinations, board exam and NEET exam. You should understand this topic very well. Various stages of human evolution are important. Evolution of horses is also important for board exam. Sometimes questions are asked from this topic. Let's proceed further in the next chapter, that is human health and disease. The important topics are, firstly, you should know the definition of health that was given by WHO. After that, pathogen, the parasites that cause human disease and their control, various bacterial diseases like typhoid and pneumonia, very important. After that, dysentery, plague, diphtheria, etc. Viral diseases like common cold, dengue, and others like polio, chikungunya, mumps, measles, etc. Protozoan diseases like malaria, amoebiasis, etc. Life cycle of Plasmodium is very important for board exam as well as NEET exam. It's very important topic, life cycle of Plasmodium. Fungal diseases like ringworm, important. Helminthic diseases, ascariasis, elephantiasis. Prevention and control of diseases. After that, the concepts of immunology are important. The types of immunity that are innate and acquired, and their subtypes, various barriers of innate immunity, these are important. You should study them in ample detail. Components of immune system, various primary lymphoid organs, secondary lymphoid organs, and other components are important. Antigen, antibody, the structure of antibody and its types are important. You should understand the concept behind antigen antibody reaction, and these are very important. Vaccination and immunization, allergy and autoimmunity, and several examples of autoimmune disorders are important. After that, AIDS and cancer should be studied in detail. The cause of AIDS, how does this pathogen, the virus HIV, replicates itself inside the host cell. These are important topics. Here in this chapter, Other important things from drugs and alcohol abuse are opioids, opioids like morphine, heroin, cannabinoids that are obtained from the plant cannabis sativa, cocaine. These drugs are asked in exam. Hallucinogens like LSD, which is obtained from fungus Claviceps purpurea, it is important. It is a psychedelic drug. It is also important. Tobacco, alcohol, and most important point for board exam is adolescence and drug alcohol abuse. It is very important for your board exam. Reasons of addiction, dependence, its effects, and how can we prevent it in the teenagers. It is very important topic for your board exam. Let's proceed to the next chapter. Now, in this chapter, that is strategies for enhancement in food production, all the examples that are given in NCERT textbook are very important. In this chapter, you will find various examples like various name of breeds, various diseases of plants. These are important. Dairy farming, poultry farming, apiculture, pisciculture, aquaculture, these are important. In animal breeding, you should know about its types. Inbreeding, outbreeding, and its types. Here, inbreeding depression is a very important topic. Artificial insemination is also important, and MOET. It is a very important topic for your board exam. Prepare it well. The steps of plant breeding is important. After that, green revolution is quite important topic. Plant breeding techniques like conventional breeding and mutation breeding are also important. Plant breeding for disease resistance, for insect pest resistance, for food quality, these are important topics. Single celled protein is also a very important topic, and tissue culture, which includes meristem culture also, it is important topic. Let's proceed to the next chapter. In this chapter, microbes in human welfare, the most important topics are microbes in household products like curd, cheese, dough, toddy, etc. In industrial beverages like fermented beverage, antibiotics, it's important. Organic acids and enzymes, the use of microbes in these products is important. Bioactive molecules, very important for NEET and board examinations. Statin and cyclosporin A, you should be familiar with these molecules and their uses. Sewage treatment is very important for board exam. Biological oxygen demand, river action plans, the process of biogas production, and next, microbes as biocontrol agents and as biofertilizers. These are important topics from this chapter. Let's proceed to the next chapter. In the 11th chapter, that is biotechnology, principles and processes, this chapter is quite conceptual. You should not cram up anything in this chapter. You should understand everything very well. Everything that is related with genetic engineering is important in this chapter. Tools of recombinant DNA technology, that are enzymes, vectors and host. These are important topics. The concept of gel electrophoresis and its process is important. Plasmids, study it in very detail. It is very important. The process of RDT should be understood well, and bioreactors, it is important for your board examination. Moving to the next chapter. In this chapter, the most important topics are genetically modified organisms, that are GMO. For example, golden rice, which is enriched in vitamin A. In agriculture, BT cotton is very important for your board exam. Various pest resistant plants are also important here. RNA interference technology is very important. After that, in medical field, genetically engineered insulin is very important, and gene therapy, which includes a very important topic, that is AGA deficiency. You should understand this topic very well. Molecular diagnosis is important. ELISA, enzyme linked immunosorbent assay, it is very important. Transgenic animals and reasons for their development, important for board exam. Various ethical issues related with these transgenic animals, and the topics like biopatent and biopiracy. These are important topics from this chapter. Let's proceed to the next chapter, that is organisms and population. In this chapter, ecology, you should know this term. After that, various levels of biological organization, environment, various abiotic factors, regulators and conformers, migration, suspension, various types of suspension like hibernation, estivation, diapause, cyst formation, etc. are important. Adaptation, its various examples are important. Population density is an important topic. After that, as pyramid is very important, the factors upon which population density depends, these factors like natality, mortality, immigration and emigration, these are important topics. Population growth models, very important topic for your board exam. Life history variation, Darwinian fitness, these are some other topics that are important. Population interactions like predation, this is very important topic. Population interaction, predation, competition, parasitism, commensalism, amensalism and mutualism, these are very important topics. So these were the most important topics from this chapter. Let's proceed to the next chapter, and this chapter is ecosystem. Various components of ecosystem, functions of ecosystem are important, that is productivity, decomposition, energy flow, nutrient cycling. Factors that affect productivity are quite important. Various steps of decomposition are important. The factors that affect decomposition are important. After that, food chain and food web are very important. Trophic level, you should understand the concept of trophic level and energy flow. Ecological pyramids, the pyramid of number, biomass and energy, you should understand them very well from your NCERT textbook. Diagrams are also very important in this chapter. Ecological succession, hierarch and xerarch, very important. Various terms like serial community, climax community, pioneer species, these are important for your board examinations. Nutrient cycle, carbon and phosphorus cycle, these are important. Ecosystem services are quite important for your board exam. Let's proceed to the next chapter, that is the chapter number 15. It is biodiversity and conservation. Here the most important topics are levels of biodiversity, global species diversity, patterns of biodiversity. It is important topic, patterns of biodiversity, that is latitudinal gradients and species area relationship. It is very important topic, you should understand it very well. Importance of species diversity to the ecosystem, it is important topic. Rivett-Popper hypothesis, very important. Characteristics of stable community, causes of biodiversity loss, biodiversity conservation reasons, methods of conservation in situ and ex situ, and various other subtypes of these two types, you should understand them very well. Conventions of biodiversity and red data book, these are important topics from this chapter. Now moving to the last chapter of your textbook, that is environmental issues. In this chapter, the most important topics are air pollution, its pollutants, harmful effects and its control methods like electrostatic precipitators, it is very important. Scrubbers, catalytic converters, etc. Noise pollution, its cause, effect and control methods. Water pollution, cause, effects, effects like eutrophication, algal bloom, these are very important for your board exam. Integrated water waste management system, it is a case study. Solid waste disposal methods, soil pollution, radioactive pollution. After that, greenhouse effect and global warming is very important. Ozone depletion in the stratosphere is an important topic. Soil erosion and desertification, waterlogging and soil salinity is important. After that, deforestation and reforestation, you already know about that. Various movements like Chipko movement are also important here. So these were the important topics from your class 12th NCERT textbook. If you understand these topics well, then you can perform very well in your board exam and you will find advantage in the NEET exam. So, if this video helped you, please let me know through the comments. And if you find any difficulty during this whole video, please let me know it too via the comment section. Share the video to help your friends and please subscribe to the channel so as to receive the subsequent updates of this channel that will be very useful.